Hello, this is Dr. Angela Wright Lacey. I pray all is well with you. I know here in sunny California, it's a beautiful day, and I'm so thankful for being able to be of good spirit, and I'm looking forward to enjoying this God-given day. I tell you, it's amazing how many topics, or I would say thoughts, pop through my head throughout the day. So I thought to myself, I was talking to a friend of mine, and you know, how you share. And so she said several words that I often say. And then I told her, I said, I need to talk about this topic. And it's just simple, and we hear it, and you'll hear people, or you'll hear it on television. You'll hear someone say, keep it real. Keep it real. And as we were talking, and I was, thinking about it, those words, and I found myself saying, thinking to myself, yeah. But how many of us really know how to keep it real? Whatever it might be. We live in a world that, for some reason, it seems as though we're like, I don't know, in a superficial bubble. We're living a certain way. We're acting and behaving a certain way. We're trying to keep up with the Joneses. I mean, it's all different things that we as individuals engage in when we're trying to, quote unquote, keep it real. And in all actuality, we could be doing things just to keep up with the Joneses, or look apart, satisfy this longing on the inside of us. Or there's just times we were raised that way. We were raised to choose. Can you believe it? We as adults, I can reflect back over my life because I enjoy talking about my own experiences, and it helps individuals to relate. We are taught to, in our early childhood, we're taught how to live. We're taught our belief system, value systems, morals, ethics. All of this play in our growing up, starting out as little children. And I can recall in my household to pray, go to church, believe in God, treat people right, love yourself, exercise, eat healthy. I mean, this list goes on and on of how I was taught to believe. One thing my mother really, and I recall this as though it was yesterday. She would line us up, and at the time it was 2 other siblings, and she would always tell us to be truthful. And that's basically saying keep it real. If you don't like something, tell the truth. And I recall practicing, because this is how I was raised. So I practiced it. And what I found is that a lot of times individuals would prefer you to tell a lie or not keep it real than to be truthful. So at times it would cost me, and definitely cost me in friendships, or what I would call associations, because a friend, well, that's a whole nother topic. But I just know, for me, when I call an individual friend, it means more than just what people are doing today. So in keeping it real, it could be a lot of different reasons why individuals choose to live a life. And I'm just going to blatantly say it, because my mom always told us when we were growing up, don't lie. And my grandmother, she thought as little kids, us saying that word, she didn't think that children should say lie. You should say story. And my mom would say, no. The Bible calls it lie, so we're not gonna lie. That's keeping it real, because we're not telling a story. But back to what I was saying, because so much is going on now that I'm discussing this topic. Do you know some people just prefer to live in a world, I call it a bubble, fictitious, than to actually keep it real? There's another word I associate, other words I associate with keeping it real, and it's being true to self. Because sometimes being true can cause a lot of pain. And so the mind is so strong. You know how you'll hear individuals say, well, it's mind over matter. So what I interpret that to be is I can take my mind, take it to another place, and disassociate with reality. Wow. That's why you'll hear the words said, you know how you'll hear, a mind is a terrible thing to waste. Mind is powerful. And we're thinking a computer is powerful, but the mind is very, very powerful. Because I can take my mind, and people do this, and they'll tell these stories, and in their minds it's real, but in reality That story does not exist. They've never lived it. I forget what that is called right now, but I learned about it in one of my psychology classes years ago. I can't think of it right now. So when we say the words keep it real, what are we saying? What do you want the individual or individuals to do? Especially when a person have been living a particular way pretty much all their life. So now they have gotten detached from reality. And sometimes it's scary, but people can't identify reality from non-reality. Not real, which is pretty scary. Well, let me ask you, in your day-to-day life, what have you as a person, and you reflect over your experiences, don't get stuck, just reflect. What can you truly say the realest moment in your life has been? And I would suggest at this time, get a pen to paper and just start writing. What have you been really true to? Because there's a difference also in what you see, what you don't see. And I'm a person that believes in putting my best foot forward. I believe in excellence. I believe in, like the Word of God tells us, to strive for perfection. And whatever I do, I'm going to put 100% of my energy into it, because it speaks for me, who I am. And I said this before in one of my recordings. I talked about, there's sometimes I get tongue-tied, and sometimes my dog is, he's flipping and doing a lot of things. So then I get distracted and I realize I can clean it up, but I don't. I'm talking to an audience where we as human beings in some areas, I would say, individuals, they want us to look as though we're just so perfect and polished. And I want my audience to know we are not perfect, and sometimes will not come across polished. Let's keep it real. We are not perfect. We make mistakes. And we can go on and on with the list of imperfections. But I'm not here to talk to you about imperfections today. But I'm keeping it real with my audience to say, yes, sometimes I'm going to stumble. Sometimes I'm going to say the wrong word. Get tongue twisted, but that's okay. Because I'm keeping it real. I am a human being. And I'm not programmed by, the computers. They're programmed. I'm not programmed. There is times when I am actually moving and behaving from experiences that causes me either to be angry, or I have to go through my healing process of forgiveness, whatever the case might be. Those experiences cause me to move. And there's times, and the individuals that know me, depending on where I'm at in my space, no, I am not going to come across a certain way when this is how I feel. I'm keeping it real. I don't feel like doing this today. I said to someone, and I'm helping this person with their dissertation, and it was my birthday. And so she texted me a couple of times. And then I got an email, so I can tell the urgency. So I called back. And the first thing I let it be known, today is my birthday. I'm not helping anyone today. This day is all about me. I don't allow individuals' urgency to be my emergency. I'm keeping it real. Because we can downplay our feelings, and I could have thought, well, my birthday, I've had birthdays before. Okay, I'm going to help you. But as soon as I made that decision to help, now I'm angry and frustrated because I downplayed reality, my reality. And we cannot downplay our reality just to be accepted for a moment in time. But whatever we did that day to stop us from not keeping it real, it will last sometimes for a decade. For a decade. If we do not want to do something, it could be going to a game, it could be cooking, whatever it is that we do not want to do that day. For me, I'm keeping it real. I do not feel like cooking today. And if I know I don't feel like cooking today, and I cook anyways just to try to satisfy someone else, that dinner is not coming out right. And I know, because this has happened on several occasions. Sometimes, you know that saying, we have to I can't think of it right now, about getting along. And in getting along, it's like, well, you have to downplay how you feel to get along, to be accepted, to get the promotion, to zip your lip, to bite your tongue, go with the flow, lose your identity. Matter of fact, just lose you. Adopt someone else's beliefs, values, ethics, morals. And I'm going to tell you, you do this, you're going to go a long ways. I met people like what I'm talking about. So that person stopped believing in God. That person now has adopted other morals and values and such. But while they're doing all of these things, which is taking them away from reality, it seems as though they're just doing kind of a down spiral. They're not as motivated. It seems sometimes they're talking in riddles. Don't make sense. Lack strength, zest. Because their reality became cloudy. When they started to compromise. And they took focus off of their true world view. And looked at the system and decided to agree. So what once worked does not work. I have to keep it real. I have to stay true to self. I cannot compromise. I cannot sell out. To many of the systems, and when I say systems, it's a lot of systems. I mean, we even have systems within systems. We look at the churches today, and there's so many different religious views. But I cannot get caught up and start grasping and believing all the different views. Because now I'm confused. I have to stay true to what I know. And I cannot try to fit in, be a people pleaser, and hold on to what I know to be true. And I just wanted to say this. If, excuse me, because there's times where we're raised in environments as children, and we've seen certain lifestyles portrayed before us. And we do become a product of our environment. There's learned behaviors. I mean, this topic is deep, so it can go on and on. But just because there's lifestyles out there in so many homes, doesn't make it right. I recall when I was doing my criminal justice degree, and we were talking about how individuals break the law. And we know it's a crime to break the law. And I interjected and I asked the teacher, I said, what if you have individuals and they're raised in this world, but as children, they were raised to take, to steal. I've heard individuals say, well, you have to take what you want. No one's going to give you anything. So as a child, this is embedded in individuals, and they continue growing up. They start from taking a candy bar to taking sneakers to taking, and then eventually now they're doing home invasions, you know. I was raised to take because no one's going to give me anything. What do you do with that information? It was a little heavy. Well, we know that individuals cannot go through this world stealing, taking, doing home invasions. We know it's a crime. We know that. But we also know, like the Word of God says, train up a child in the way they should go, and when they get older, they will not depart. And I can take that in two ways. You can train up a child on the positive side, good side, and you can also train a child on a negative side, criminal, where that child will be criminal minded. So now that has become the individual's reality. Literally. Because it's embedded in their mind. I'm going to take. I seen my dad do it. I seen my mom do it. I seen my uncles do it. This is the way of life. Don't make it right. But they're keeping it real because this is their reality. In order to really get to the word, the words definition of keeping it real, I recommend individuals really seek wise counsel, understand learned behaviors, want change, want to do better, want to be a better person, want their mind to be open, want to gain wisdom, knowledge, understanding, want to be transformed. I believe at one point in our lives, we all, including myself, have walked in a moment in time where we were not in reality. Because sometimes reality is so painful, so we disconnect. Or sometimes my reality, I was trained as a child, which is still a wrongful behavior. Or it could be a rightful behavior. Or let's just say I want to get along. I want to be accepted. I want to run with the majority. I want to denounce the true me, and I'll just say sell out. Sell out, same thing, compromise. Because I don't want to be ostracized. There's so many reasons why individuals don't keep it real. So many events that can occur in a person's life to cause them to disconnect. I don't know what your moments might be today. I don't know how real you are even to yourself. On our jobs, at church, in front of people, we all put on a face. Some have a more disconnect with who they are. But I would really suggest, if you really truly want to keep it real, if you have children, teach them the truth. Teach them how to live. Teach them how to take care of their well-being. If you're a believer in God, teach them faith-based principles. It's your choice of how you want and what you want your children, and including yourself, to learn. If you want to just be accepted, it's something going on with that. Why do you want to be accepted? Especially from the masses. Because a lot of times they're just as confused as you are. They just come across as though they know and they don't. or you don't know who you are. You don't even know your purpose. You're walking in someone else's purpose. You're trying to fit someone else's shoes, and that's not working. Whatever it is today, I would suggest seeking wise counsel to help you get a better handle, a better understanding on how to achieve reality and how to stick with it. Don't fall under peer pressure. Don't even allow the children to cause you to feel guilty and then fall under their peer pressure. Sometimes we have to seek counsel just to learn new methods, or just to have someone to listen with the open ear that can take what we say and give it back to us in a positive, sensitive, empathetic way, speaking in wisdom. I love keeping it real. As a matter of fact, it really keeps me focused. It keeps me from doing and falling under pressure to things that I really don't want to do. And it causes me to experience peace. Because I've heard too many people say, well, I really didn't want to do it, or I really didn't want to go. And they did it anyways. Only now they're angry, bitter, frustrated. Sometimes they even fall out with people just for not keeping it real. I touched on a little bit of the terminology that we've all heard of. And I know I may have seemed like I was jumping around, but this little word means a lot more than just, it's basically truth. Don't lie to yourself. Sit down with self. That's what I do. That's one of my methods. Reflect. Don't get stuck. Reflect. Reflect on the moment. Get pen to paper and write down where or how many times. You don't have to write like 20 times. You can just, I always give a good measurement of 10. Where you know that you weren't real. Then ask yourself, why? Why didn't I keep it real? What were the pressures that caused me to fall? Or even, do I know how to keep it real? Was I taught to keep it real? This is Dr. Angela Wright Lacey. I would advise in 2017, if you're not living in reality, Seek wise counsel. Get wisdom. Get knowledge. Get understanding. Most important, keep it real 2017.